They've done it again, haven't they? Brighton. They've done it again. They cannot keep getting away with this. I don't know where they get these players from, but it's got to be the football black market. There's no way they just keep finding these gems. From where? Where do they come from? They must be having some kind of factory where they manufacture these guys by hand, because I'm sorry, this can't be happening. They cannot keep selling their best players year after year for 100 times profit for what they bought them for, and just not spend the money and buy some other guy from Germany, Austria, Japan, and then create the same player that they just sold for a cut price. I don't get it, man. We all know they've been doing this, but it gets to a point where it's like you cannot keep getting away with it. But they have. They just have gotten away with it again. Brian Gruda. Call me a new gen, call me a casual, call me a fake fan, plastic, whatever you want to call me. I'm sorry, I did not know who this person was before today. And yes, I'm not the most avid Brighton watcher, but Brian Gruda, some 21-year-old, I think the commentator said he was signed from Stuttgart or some German team. Well, Brian Gruda, the 21-year-old, has just won in the 89th minute, given Brighton their first 3 points of the season against Manchester City, who, by the way, have 3 points in 3 games. A very shaky start after their absolute masterclass against Wolves. They sold everyone a dream. We were all thinking they were going to, shock the world again and win the title after a sort of year off last year. But it's looking like it could be more of the same from Man City. Honestly, there were some really, really big red flags today in Man City's performance. On Brighton's behalf, man, I mean, you've got to be gassed for them. And me as a Chelsea fan, I am gassed for Brighton taking points off Man City. But also for the performance, they deserved it today. They were the better team over the course of the game. There were certainly parts of the game where Man City had complete control. For example, the whole second half of the first half was Man City's game. They were dictating play. Brighton couldn't get any build-up forward. And Man City were winning the midfield battle. And then eventually they got their goal. They were getting chance after chance. And eventually it's a bit of a scrappy goal. But, Marmoush fumbles it about in the box and it finds its way to Haaland. And Haaland, when he's 6, 7, 8 yards out away from the goal, doesn't matter if you put the goal in front of him, doesn't matter if you put the whole Brighton defence in front of him, doesn't matter if you put everyone from Brighton in front of him, he will still find a way to score a goal from there. That was a given. And look, it was kind of a sigh of relief for Haaland because he was having quite a frustrating game. And I think overall he had quite a frustrating game. He wasn't really getting the most service. He wasn't really getting the best chances. I mean, there was some times where he'd shoot outside the box when he got space, and there was one chance in the first half where he got a pretty good cross to his head. But apart from that, he was struggling to get himself into space, and Man City was struggling to get them the ball. And I've got to say, congratulations to Hurtzler's Brighton, because the setup today from them was very, very good. Now on Brighton, they obviously started the game pretty well. They were, I would say, outplaying Man City in the first sort of 15, 20 minutes. Then, like I said, Man City eased back into the game. Man City get the first goal. And from then, I'm kind of thinking, Man City now have control. They're probably going to go for a second or a third in the second half and just take control of the game. The opposite happened. Man City did start the second half pretty decently, but it didn't take long for Brighton to quickly start gaining momentum out of seemingly nowhere. Man City were making silly fouls, giving away yellow cards. But you know what the change was? You know what happened in the second half? That completely flipped the game on its head. And it's something that I don't tend to see much in football anymore. Or never really. Hurtzler, the Brighton manager, does one of the biggest, balls things you could ever do. Because if it goes right, it goes perfectly. And if it goes wrong, you risk losing the whole game and look like a numpty. He pretty much subbed off the whole entire outfield team and replaced them. Obviously, I'm being hyperbolic, but what did he make? Like 4 or 5? He made like 4 or 5 changes in the same moment. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but the 3 main ones: Brian Gruda, who scored the winning goal; James Milner, who scored the equaliser; and Jorginho Rota, who also didn't get a goal, but he was creating havoc all game when he came on. And I mean, he definitely created an effect in that attack. He was linking up play between the wings. He was even going on the wing himself and creating chances, winning fouls. A great performance from Jorginho Rota today. But that change completely flipped the game on its head. James Milner brought the experience. Rotter brought that attacking tenacity and aggression. And Gruda, what's his name? Gruda or Gruda? I don't want to get this wrong. Let me just check. Gruda. Genuinely no disrespect. I genuinely just learned who he is today, but what a goal that was. But Gruda, yeah, when he came on, honestly, he was playing as if he'd been on the whole entire game. Mitoma was looking very class, as always. Hinshelwood was good. And the back line as well. Dunk was doing his thing. Brighton just played very, very well today, especially that second half. And it was, in my opinion, their game to win ever since Milner scored the penalty. And look, the penalty for me, it's just such a stupid decision from Matheus Nunes. What is he thinking, man? It's a bit like the Fulham one yesterday, where Sessegnon just kind of throws his arm out. But this one is even more stupid. He sees that the ball is going to go to whoever he was marking on the far post. Before the Brighton player even gets the ball or gets a chance to touch the ball, Matheus Nunes has already got his hands up here, as if to protect his face from potentially getting hit. Brother, if you're that scared of getting hit by a football, firstly, don't be a footballer. And secondly, just duck. Just duck. Do not do this because you're going to give away a penalty. This is not a natural position. It will never be a natural position. It can't be a natural position. No matter how many more rules or clarifications and tweaks to what a handball is, this will never be allowed. That was always a penalty, stone cold all day. And James Milner, with his experience, was he 39 years old? Just bags a brilliant penalty. Honestly, I was a bit afraid. I thought Trafford, he's got a decent penalty saving record. He's had a good game so far. I do think Trafford had a pretty good game. Not much he could do for the first goal, obviously, it's a penalty. But yeah, Milner just sends him the wrong way, and that's the experience for you. It was a brilliant penalty. I even think if Trafford went the right way, he wouldn't have saved it because it was perfectly placed into the corner. And yeah, from then on, I was like, Brighton can get the 3 points. Ever since then, I genuinely did not feel at any point of that game that Man City looked confident enough to get the winner. I honestly didn't. And that is quite a negative. When you're Man City, you've got guys like Haaland on the pitch. You're subbing on players like Doku. You've got Rodri on the pitch. Reinders. You should at least give the fans or the people watching some sort of confidence in them, in your team, in yourself, to score a goal or to at least pose a threat. Oscar Bob, for me, who's been one of Man City's most promising players as of recent, end of last season and start of this one, had a completely silent game. Brighton nullified him. Every time he tried to burst into the box or create something, there was 1-2 defenders there to stop him. And that meant that the ball just didn't get into the box for someone like Haaland to pounce on. So Man City, a really frustrating game offensively for them. They didn't get any chances off, and they paid for that. And their start of the season is looking pretty bleak now because, yeah, the Wolves game was very bright, very promising. Cherky scored. Yeah, Cherky scored his first goal. You got Reinders having an absolute masterclass of a performance. Haaland getting a brace. Oscar Bob plays very well. And you just start to think to yourself, wow, yeah, I see what Pep's building now with this new team, with this new side. Then you lose to Tottenham. It's like, okay, Tottenham are also a new side. They just got the better of us today. We do lose to Tottenham quite a lot. Let's just go beat Brighton and then be back on track. But this was anything but a bounce back from Man City. It was a real regression. So I'm afraid for Man City, man. I don't know. Obviously, it's still very early on, but results like these are the ones that cost you titles. To lose 2 games in a row in the first 3 match weeks, that is the type of stuff that you look back on at the end of the season and think, yeah, we lost a title then. We were already out of it. So unless Man City have a huge comeback after the international break, I don't know. It's looking quite peak for them. On Brighton's behalf, they needed this win. They haven't had a good start to the season. But again, a very promising performance from Hurtzler's Brighton. And they deserved it, man. And again, like I said, they keep pulling these names out of the hat. I think Brighton might be the only team, except for like the newly promoted sides, that I genuinely couldn't name you all of the players in their lineup. Or when you showed me the lineup, I wouldn't know all of those players. There are some players, I don't know. I feel like you need to be like some kind of Brighton ultra or just a football hipster to know the names of these Brighton players before they become established. I'd like to say though, Milner, again, another player who I just discovered a few months ago, last season. What a performance from him today. He didn't get a goal, or I don't think he got an assist either. But so bright, so dangerous. That's a guy that genuinely just, If we're going to sign Chelsea, we love signing Brighton players. If we're going to sign one next, I wouldn't mind it being this guy. He just looks incredible. Every time he gets the ball, looks dangerous. He's fast. He's agile. And yeah, he's not afraid to take his man on. And that's what I love to see in a winger. Other news today, I mean, West Ham get their first win of the season as well. That is huge for them. Also a 3-0 win away at Nottingham Forest, I think it was. That is a huge statement. And it was a statement they needed to make quickly. Graham Potter has caught life. Just like Amram yesterday, he's caught life with this result. And it's a big result. It's a good result as well. I'm not going to nullify it or diminish it at all. That is a very good result against a good side, Nottingham Forest. 3-0 away at the City Ground is never easy. So, I can only give my congratulations to West Ham. But, the Bowen goal was great. Paqueta scored a penalty, and then I think Callum Wilson got the last one. I didn't watch it, obviously. I was watching the Brighton game. But still, very good for West Ham there. It's looking a bit worse for Nottingham Forest than last season. I'm not going to lie to you. Last season, Nottingham Forest, it felt like they just had a complete team. It felt like if Nottingham Forest were going to make a Champions League run or run to get to the Champions League or to even compete for top 3, it was going to be that last season. Now, I just feel like a lot of that core is either missing or just doesn't look as motivated. Or there's just a lot of issues at Nottingham Forest. But anyways, this is not a Nottingham Forest video. I didn't watch the game, so I don't know how badly they played. But what we do know is Man City have had a poor start to the season. There's no hiding from it. They need to come back after the international break. Pep Guardiola has to figure it out. And Brighton, good for them, man. It's good to see new kids on the block. Obviously, we joke about the Brighton model and stuff, but it honestly is very good to see players who we don't really know or we haven't heard of pop up on the scene. And in big moments like that, because I haven't really spoken about the goal. The goal was very good. There's like 3 points there. 3 touches that Gruda takes before going around the keeper. Where I'm like, he's going to shoot here. Oh, he's got to shoot here. Oh, he's missed his opportunity. But no, he just waits for the perfect moment that Trafford's far out enough and the defender who was behind him has got in front of him. I think it was Nori maybe, or maybe even O'Reilly, I'm not sure. But to the point where they get in front of him so he can go around both of them, and then it was just really smart play from Gruda. And to be so young and do that and have that IQ is a great sign already for a footballer to have. But anyways, make sure to like and subscribe, comment what you thought of today's games. And yeah, I'll be watching the Liverpool-Arsenal game next, and I'll be coming up with my thoughts on that later. So I'll see you in a bit.